but the power of knowledge and experiences and life and overcome traumas as well, because that also builds our character and it builds
Mhm.
our persona. That people come into your lives whenever they need to teach you a lesson, and when there's nothing else that they can provide, or there's no more learnings, they leave your life, and it's okay, and we need to let them go. And when no one else can stop your power, because you sometimes it's even from the way we dress, from the way we speak, from the way we prevent others to, like, I have a very strong shield that you cannot overpass.
Mm.
Being thankful and waking up every day to say, I'm thankful for where I am, and I'm thankful for who I am, and and also I want to thank me
Mhm.
for overcoming that.
Hi everyone, I'm Camilo Torres, and welcome again to Flowcast. In here, we're going to have amazing conversations with the beautiful people that has joined our community. We're going to get a lot of inspirations for the life journeys, passions, creations, because we believe that when you share your unique story, you can inspire others. So please enjoy this new Flowcast. And also, I would love to invite you to join our community. And if you would like to share your unique story, please go to our website, flowwithcommunity.com, for more information. Thank you. So please welcome David Martinez. Hi, David.
Hello, Camilo. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for being here
My
and being
pleasure.
part of Flow Community.
It's my pleasure. When you sent me the invitation, I was like, I'm so humble and so honored to be one of your guests.
Oh,
Thank you so
no.
much.
Everybody is welcome to share the story, and I am very honored for you to share the story. Think life bring us together like the universe through one of my best friends, but also
Hmm.
the industry.
Yes.
It's wonderful to have you
Yes.
here.
I think it's like when we say, how we say in Mexico, no? Like, God creates us and then we unite.
Yeah,
No? Then we come together.
100%.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would love you to share your story, how your journey's been. I think, well, behind before this podcast, we were talking about that you've been here 14 years, like me, in London. But I would love you to share how it's been your professional journey
Hmm.
and your life journey. And
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, sure. Well, I am originally from Mexico City, and I spent there 21 years of my life so far. And I remember I did an exchange program in the US in Santa Barbara, and that was my first approach into an abroad experience, and trying to open my mind and experience the world by myself. No,
Mhm.
and when I came back to Mexico, I knew that I had to continue that experience somewhere else. And we were saying about do not try to replicate the same experience twice. So I said, well, having English as my second language, let's go to England. No? But initially, I think in a very joyful and youthful way, I came to travel, but by travel I mean to discover new places, to discover a new continent that I've never been before, new cultures, and to I came here with the idea of studying for 1 year. So I came here to do a master's degree in film studies, film appreciation, and the social impact of cinema. Um, and it was very nice. I came with the support of my family. In Leicester near Nottingham. And I
Mhm.
remember the day I arrived, the English Defence League was in town, and I felt like in a movie, like the hooligans, and I was like, this is not what I picture. This is not what they sold to me. No, like, where am I?
Uh-huh.
Um, but then I realized that that same night, the city, the people of Leicester, they came out um, to fight these extremist
Mm.
people that they exist. No, so it took me one day to adapt into this beautiful country and to understand um, that it was soon to become my new home. No, my I have my country and my birthplace, which is always and forever my country. But now, little did I know back in 2010 that by coming here to study my master's degree, this was going to become my home. So going back to the question, I first came into this country to pursue my master's degree, but with an idea of let's 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 be an open book. And I told this to my family. I'm gonna go for a certain period, and then we'll see. I'm open and I am receptive, and I'm always and forever grateful and thankful with my family because they were always there. They're always there to support me on my dreams and my career and what I do. So it's much mostly I owe it to them because what I do it comes from a place of love.
Mm. Wow, interesting. And what did you, I mean, in terms of career, what
So
did you do?
it took me time to click to understand that film was my industry, not just my passion, but my
Mm.
industry, and that I could do something in it. No, when I was a child, my family they used to own cinemas in Mexico,
Oh,
and
nice.
my grandma she was an accountant and she was the bookkeeper of the cinemas. Um, but to me, it was my grandma's job, and it was her family's business, which was literally hosting films in a venue and selling popcorn. And like the
Uh-huh.
idea of a cinema it was like, this is my family's business. It is a business, no? They don't make the films. They just open the doors, press play, exhibit the films. But I didn't know that could have
Mm-hmm.
been a call for me. I my grandma was the accountant, so it was like all the books and all the numbers, and she was always with her glasses and doing everything and giving me free cinema tickets every time I used to go visit her. Um, so uh, I know it's weird, but the smell of popcorn always reminds me to my grandma and always reminds me like visiting her in her workplace. So whenever I'm in a cinema, I feel like home. I feel like there's something familiar in being in a cinema. But that didn't click when I was a child. It was my grandma, she was the
Mm.
accountant. Um, and when I grew up, I knew that I wanted to be creative, no, as a gay boy myself. There was something uh, internal going on, and I knew that I had to express myself in other ways that other people they don't express
Mm-hmm.
in that way, no. And I found in the creative industries my niche. No, when I was deciding what to do, I was like, I want to work in culture, I want to work in entertainment, but I didn't know what. I wanted to be a journalist at the beginning. Um, and I write very beautifully, and even my teachers from uni they were like, you really are tailored to be a journalist. And I'm like, yeah, no, I love it. I love it. I honestly I do. But I know that my my trajectory was going to be longer because to become a respected journalist is until you reach 50 years old and you get paid per page or per article. And I was like, I mean, I'm not going to expose myself to that, no?
Mm.
Even though I love the profession, I respect it, but looking at my teachers and what my future was waiting, I was like, well, that's not where I'm going to. Then I wanted to become a publicist, and I actually studied uh, publicity and marketing. That's actually my degree. Um,
Mm.
but by doing that, I was like, let's present campaigns and let's pitch to people and let's put all of your creativity on a presentation and then sell it, pitch it, and the figures and at uni in Mexico, I had my best academic years back in UNAM, which is the university where I studied at. Um, but it was until I went to California that a friend told me, why don't you take some credits at the film and media department? And initially, my reaction and my experience and approach to the industry was like, well, I don't do the craft. As in,
Mhm.
don't give me a camera. As I don't know how to press play. Like um, I'm so awkward with a camera because I've never had that. No, and my friend was like, "Don't be silly. Like we're gonna study film studies, and it's like it's the history, it's the social impact, it's the economics, it's the politics around it, it's the histories."
Mhm.
And I was like, "Well, actually, that sounds very fascinating. Yes." And I so that was like my a transformation for me, a moment that I when I realized that where my passion relies and that there there is a way to 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 do your passion as your way of living.
Mhm.
That's when it clicked, and that was such a magical moment for me, because that's when I realized that it was actually the film industry where I wanted to work. But at that time, 21 years old, I didn't know what. I just knew that there was a call for me to
Mhm.
do it because that it's something that I enjoyed and reminded me to my family, to my roots, to the magic of cinema. No, I remember my mom. She showed us the love to cinema. I'm very grateful that she took us like religiously every week, every Tuesday. Let's go to the movies. Partially because we had the cinemas there,
The free tickets.
but also when this business was sold into a
Mhm.
cinema chain, I was around 10.
Mhm.
Still, we carried on with the tradition, and my mom, she loves films, as in, and my uncle, he devours films, and he's an encyclopedia of Mexican cinema himself.
Mhm.
Um, and I think it's also to do with, you can stop me if I'm talking
No,
too
I
much,
haven't it.
um,
No.
but I'm gonna touch a subject that I'm very fascinated. Being a gay person, and being able to do what I love and working in the creative industries and living and working abroad, and we can touch more about that. I remember a friend told me, well, you know that that's the meaning of the black sheep, the concept, the beautiful concept of being the black sheep in your family. And I was like, why so? Because normally the concept of the black sheep is you left the herd and you go into the bath path and you get lost and you need to be found. He was like, no, 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 no. The
Mm.
black sheep is actually someone that comes to heal the branches of your family tree.
Okay.
And then he told me, imagine that the tree, and imagine like from the roots, the tree, the branches, these are your ancestors.
Mhm.
And imagine that you are one of the many branches and you're at the top of that branch right now. Right now. And then he said, imagine how many people in your family they were gays and they couldn't be openly gays when they were living. Imagine how many, because homosexuality was not created when I was born.
Of course, no, yeah.
And when you look at patterns and when you look at relatives that you're like, mm,
Hmm.
he could have, yeah, it kind of gives me the vibes. Um, but then I honor them because they procreated kids and they gave life because
Mhm.
that's what they had to do. But by them doing what they had to do, I'm here and I'm grateful for that. And then of course comes how many people in my family wanted to work in the creative sector. I'm sure there were many artists, but they lived wars, civil wars, world wars,
Mm.
hunger, prejudice, homophobia, um, moments in history in which they were forced to build a society, the society where we live right now. No,
Mm.
so that's also a beautiful moment when I click that if if I'm able to do what what I love and what I do is because of where I come from, and and I look back at them and I just say thank you for giving me the opportunity to be where I am right now.
Wow, this is super special what you just shared, and I love the concept about the black sheep,
Right?
which it resonates
Yes.
to me, and it's so good that we are. I think I consider as well myself the black sheep, because,
Right.
and it's so nice to be conscious about it,
Yes.
and also to, well, to start healing first from yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
then
Mm-hmm.
help others
Exactly.
as well on the process.
Exactly.
Super
Exactly. And
special.
that's the whole message of flow, no? It's how do we get inspired, and at the same time how can we, from a very humble
Mhm.
place, but knowing our power, how can we inspire and empower other people, no? Um, and it happens that we never know how much power we have and how much knowledge. Power, I mean the power inside, not like power, not like like evil, but the power of knowledge and experiences and life and overcome traumas as well, because that also builds our character and it builds
Mhm.
our persona, and that also we need to be grateful and to thank those moments of learning, no. um, but it's when you're able to pass that message to, not to call myself old, but let's be honest. But when you pass it on to younger generations, um,
Even too old as well.
you're actually right. You're actually right, because I mean, every journey is different. No,
Mhm.
absolutely, you're absolutely right. Thank you. Um, but it's until you pass that message that you're like, okay, well, I love listening and I love understanding and I love knowing people and yeah, getting to know them. So when someone, like in this moment, I really appreciate it when someone sits down and they want to listen to whatever I have to say. These are these are moments of introspection as well, and make us think that yes, we have a message, and that we are in this world just once, and we might
Mhm.
as well um, leave a mark, no, leave a stamp.
100%.
Yes.
Wow, I love it. And I think, yeah, I mean, there is nothing to add. I feel like um what you say is our journey is an inspiration to others,
Yes.
and what I was referring about the older generation as well is like I feel like our parents, just want to relate from my experience, because I would love you both if you want to share that experience, but from my experience coming out as a
Mm,
gay
mm, mm,
person and all that journey,
mhm,
I I feel, well, my dad, my mom's still alive and she's very proud about it,
mm,
but my dad, I think he went also, he, I feel I was an inspiration for him, for the evolution of what he
mm,
had during his
mm,
life.
mm.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like
Wow.
we, like, the power, what you're saying is
Yes.
the power of love that we have
Yes.
for us
Yes.
can transmit and can
Yes.
inspire others
Yes.
for an evolution.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that power is a internal construction from from love, but sometimes from ashes that are left inside of us. No.
Mm.
Um, Talking about my experience, my parents got divorced when I was 4, and he went for cigars and he never came back.
Oh,
It was
okay.
it was more complicated than that, but and I'm not just being cynical, but that's my story, no. But then it was until recent years that I, through introspection and through some exercises, that I realized that people come into your lives whenever they need to teach you a lesson, and when there's nothing else that they can provide, or there's no more learnings, they leave your life, and it's okay, and we need to let them go. So it was through this introspection and exercise that I realized that my dad had to leave at that moment
Mm-hmm.
because he was creating a lot of pain to my mother and to my family. and as a consequence to us, no, that he had to live. But then I realized that, okay, yeah, but what was the lesson? What did he taught you, no? And he taught me without him knowing, but he gave me the lesson of perseverance, of being a fighter. Um, at the beginning, from a place of hate, and it's important to acknowledge that, of
Mm-hmm.
like the abandonment, the not recognizing that he had kids in this
Mm-hmm.
world, no. Um, but then I realized that that internalized hate, I transform it into overachieving to prove a point, and also as a
Mm-hmm.
gay person, sometimes we tend to become overachievers, no, like to look good, to dress good, to smell good, to travel, to. But that also is important. I was reading this book, The Velvet Rage, that I thoroughly recommend to the community because it's about the experience of coming out gay in a straight society and recognizing that we were raised to hate ourselves at the beginning, and
Mm-hmm.
that it was an internal struggle for us to learn not to hate ourselves but to love ourselves despite the message we receive from our parents, from our church, from our society, from our media, from our everything. We thrived through it. We persevered and we overcome traumas. Now, there is people that they cannot deal with that and they decide to take their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so unfair. Like, um, to the community out there, I mean, I urge them to like, um, let people be themselves and
Mm-hmm.
understand where they come from and understand that as long as we don't harm others, like what's what's your problem and what's your business, no? Um, but we were talking about the power, no? I mean the power that I have, and I've been working on it, and I always, it's on us to grow it and to not let anyone to overshadow your power, no? But it that's why I was mentioning it's also important to mention that sometimes it comes from a dark place that we turn it into light because there was a progress and there was a learning, and that gives us power, you know. I remember with my mom, it was a struggle for her to understand that both her kids, my sister, she's lesbian and she's older than me, so she came out first. And I was like, when I come out, they're gonna think that I'm just following my sister. So that happened. And my mom was like, no, no, you're just following a trend. You think that
Mm-hmm.
is cool. And I was like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. She even tried conversion therapy. But I was not old enough to recognize that that was becoming traumatic. Um, Thankfully, like she couldn't seek that kind of conversion therapy. She just took us to a therapist,
Mm-hmm.
which ended up saying the only person that is wrong and the only person who needs to work on herself is you,
Which is your mom.
which
Yeah.
is my mom. But it took her years, but it wasn't until I found that part of my power, which came from having a loving partner and giving me the strength to say, no, 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 this is not just me clubbing, this is not just me messing around, this is not just me trying to find a place in this world. This is me who found someone that is giving me the strength to confront even my mother and my
Mm-hmm.
family and my society and whoever comes in my way. I have the power in me to say no more.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a very strong and a very revealing conversation with my mother that till now, like even I saw her 2 months ago, and we revived that conversation, and she apologized again. Because in that conversation, I said, "Mom, it's either you're in or you're out. I
Mm-hmm.
want you to be part of my life, and it's not just about how's the weather, how's work, how's London. It's how are you, and have you been hurt? Do you have a broken heart? Do you have someone to kiss you every night? You know, like it's also part of ourselves, and it's important to recognize. It's not like let's not talk about the gay thing.
Mm. Mhm.
So I said, but if you don't want to talk about that, well, let's not talk about anything else. And it's your decision if you want to stay out of my life. I want you in my life. And that's when she realized that she was nearly to lose me. And I'm like, it's gonna hurt me a lot, but I cannot deal with this anymore.
Mhm.
If you come to my place, if you come to my home as an adult, as an adult, I'm a gay adult and I live with my partner. But that power came from a lot of learning and a lot of therapy and a lot of like understanding that no one, starting from our family, could stop us on being who we are and being happy, no? But it's until you polish those skills of um, accepting energies but also rejecting energies is when you realize that you're building the power in you and that no one else could stop it. And when no one else can stop your power because you sometimes it's even from the way we dress, from the way we speak, from the way we prevent others to like I have a very strong shield that you cannot overpass.
Mm.
And you cannot. Don't even try. Because there is evil. There's evilness outside, and it's when they see the weakness of some people is when they approach and they attack. But it's on us to understand that there is a power that we have that help us attract, but also help us to reject.
Mhm. Wow. I love it. And nothing to add. I think thank you so much for sharing
My
your
pleasure.
experience.
My
And
pleasure.
it's, I mean, I think from what you share, your mom also has evolved because of you.
Yes, yes. And
And
she understands that, and she thanks me for that because she
mm,
said no one is no one is trained to be a parent. And I also understand and I appreciate that. I'm like, you were like on your late 20s when you conceived me, and I'm here because of that. And perhaps you two were too young and you had your troubles as a young couple that are not my problems,
yeah.
and that those decisions were not my decisions, and that's not affecting me. But also, I understand that we come from a society that teaches things, and when some ideas are seated in our brains and our minds, and you believe that
Mhm.
sexual is wrong, being working in the arts is wrong, you should be a lawyer, you should be a doctor, you should have a real job, no? um, it's very difficult to remove those seeds from your brain. So that's why I've been having like very nice conversations with my mom from the since we had that conversation. And I'm like, I don't blame you. This is where you come from, but
Mhm.
I am here to heal the tree. And I told her that. I explained that concept, and I said, let's heal from love. Let's heal. Then also my uncle, who studied nuclear physicist, he wanted to be a filmmaker. And it
Oh.
was until I was studying uh, film studies that he revealed to me, that I had the opportunity to pursue my dream, but I thought that I would disappoint my parents because
Mhm.
my grandparents were accountants. And he thought, without revealing, that he wanted to pursue a career in film. He said, I need to go for a more traditional career, which is physicist. And then he became
Mm.
a nuclear specialist. But but the love of cinema for him it transfers into uh, collecting obscure information about every film in cinema history.
Oh.
So he's an encyclopedia because his knowledge and his brain allows that. But I also look at stories like my uncle, which is like my most immediate relative, like my ancestors, no? Um, and I say, you're living through me something that you
Mhm.
couldn't, but you have so much love and so much yeah, so much love and respect that you live it with love through me. So every time I tell him about my achievements and ceremonies and events that I attend, and I share my experiences. He's just so happy that I am able to do it from not from jealousy, but from a place of love. And that's a good example of how we heal our tree, you know, and how we give back, but also always honoring and understanding where we come from.
Yeah.
Because Camilo, if you and I were here in a members club in London, it's because we have ancestors who allowed a progress and allowed us to be us and allowed us
Mhm.
to be openly gay and be proud about it and allowed us to express ourselves on the way we dress, the way we talk, on where we go to dance. It's important to understand that and to heal and to
Mhm.
forgive. Because in the gay community we carry a lot of baggage,
Mhm.
and I'm talking from my own experience. I know that we humans we carry a lot of baggage, um, but us we carry this. Yeah, we were mentioning internalized homophobia, internalized hate, internalized rage, internalized
Mhm.
things that we had to fight to overcome that and to become ourselves. No? So it's always about being thankful and waking up every day to say, I'm thankful for where I am, and I'm thankful for who I am, and and also I want to thank me
Mhm.
for overcoming that, for having professional accomplishments, for having love accomplishments, um, and for being where I am. No, is this very nice exercise of like if you 10, 15 years ago would look at yourself right now, they'll be like, wow, oh
Mm.
my gosh, I had no idea we're gonna go that far. You know, that exercise, that it was an exercise that I had in therapy.
Mhm.
That imagine like that. Starting from that, and in therapy, I had to work these things that as an adult, sometimes we don't realize how many unresolved issues we have until you're confronted by that idea and until that affects your adult life. As in, my therapist said, be thankful to that 4 year old kid that felt abandoned when his dad left.
Mhm.
Be thankful for that uh, teenager that grew up with anxiety, with hate, with even hating myself for being gay, even knowing that I was thinking that I was doing wrong, and 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 blaming the dad that left, and but also to thank the evolution from that,
Mhm.
no, as in how I grew up to overcome that and to overachieve and to always um, prove that I was worth the love of my family, the respect of my classmates, the respect in society, despite the fact of being a gay abandoned boy. It's until I realized that I was like, it's been a journey. I mean, you don't understand where everyone comes from and the battles that everyone has been forced into fight, sometimes with help, but sometimes without help.
Mhm.
Um, but how it is on us and that power in us to let us overcome those kind of adversities. But that's why it's always a good exercise um, to thank yourselves for being who you are right now. And if there's something that you have to change, also acknowledging that it is
Mhm.
in you to change those habits or those feelings or those toxic relationships,
Mm,
but that only comes with experience and with, I don't want to say age, but time on this earth, that
yeah.
sometimes we evolve in different ways, no? Um, but yeah, I think that's the message that I
Wow.
want to share for the flow
Oh
community
my
on
God.
how to find the power in yourself and how to find it uh, from both light and dark places, and 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 to learn how to keep building our power in many ways,
Mm,
in at home, with our partners, at work, with our personal career, with everything, no? And but it always comes from you, no?
thank you.
My
Thank
pleasure,
you.
Camilo.
Wow. Thank you so much. I think this
Oh,
is amazing. I love everything you said.
uh,
I think I completely agree with you. I also, I mean, I think we have similar backgrounds. I mean, similar in terms we all unique,
yes.
but it's an inspiration, and it's so important to share those experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Even that, like, listen to you, I relate so much to you, but if I start sharing my story, it's completely different,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
it's similar. It's very
Yeah,
strange,
because
but
we're
I
humans and
love it.
we're
Yeah,
connected,
yes, yes.
and not just we're humans. We're like gay Latinos.
Exactly.
That's the whole
I
house.
love it. Oh, thank you. All
Oh,
right.
thank you so much.
Now, to finish your first flowcast, because I feel like you have so much to share, and I love it. I would love
I'll
you
be back if you
to
invite me
yes,
back.
yes, yeah, all the time. He is open for you. I have three questions for you. You can answer it with one word or one short sentence,
Hmm.
and there you are. So, what means creativity for you?
Inspiration.
Nice, love it.
And if I can
Yeah,
expand,
yes.
um, creativity is an internal inspiration and how you express it in many ways.
Mm,
Um, and there's creativity in in silly, simple things in our daily lives. It's not just like something big. It's like, how do we prepare coffee? How do we
mm-hmm,
what scarf do you choose to put around your neck? Are you wearing sandals? Are you wearing shoes? Um, how the way you talk, like the way you decide your simple things in your daily life, but also how do you bring that inspiration into something bigger, of course, no?
mm-hmm.
In your life, but also in your career, no? And creativity, that's what it means. To me, it means the inspiration that comes from your inner power.
Wow, love it. Thank you. And second one, what is your current creative expression?
Mm. Um, I think I've been exploring more on how to confront heteronormality in the way we dress, and that's something that
Mm-hmm.
I've been like working on in recent years, and
Nice.
how to degenderize objects. That a skirt is a skirt, a
Mm-hmm.
scarf is a scarf, a blouse is a blouse, um, and how do you, by the way you dress, you're actually giving a message that you're like, can you just get over yourselves? If I want to wear a skirt, or if I want to wear a pearl on my ear, can you just get over yourself? This is how I express myself. This is where I find creativity,
Mm,
but it's also where I find confronting, but by confronting, perhaps inspiring
mm,
other people, other kids, for them to know that it's okay to wear a pearl, it's okay to wear a blouse, it's okay to wear a skirt if you want to wear a skirt. Like, it's okay, you know?
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so nice. And the last one, what the word flow means for you?
To me, flow is it's like it's like a river. No,
Mm,
it's it's how you how you continue your journey in your own pace, and how you on as you flow in the river, how you take elements into your journey or reject objects from
mm,
your journey. And in the river, as you flow, you will find other people that are flowing on your same frequency, on your same level, on your same path, no? And by doing that, we are all in it together,
mm.
no? And it's beautiful to know that we are not alone, that we need to find our herd, and we need to find our black ships, no?
I love it.
Um, in our own flow, in our own journey,
Hmm.
and to keep helping each other, inspire each other, and creating a community and creating a family from that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Thank you.
my
Thank you
pleasure.
so much, David.
Oh, it's
I
been
love it.
wonderful.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Ah.